All right. Sorry about the delay, everybody. Had some technical difficulties, my mic, and I've got Caleb with me today. So just 1 second.
What's up, guys? Welcome to the live.
All right. Well, it is 4th of July weekend. Caleb, do you have any fun plans for you and yours this weekend?
Yes, actually, we're going to hang out over in Greeley. Since it's the Stampede week, there's a ton of stuff that goes on in Greeley. So we're going to hit the parade downtown, and then we've got family and friends coming over to our house for a barbecue.
There's a nice parade down in Greeley at that time.
Heck of a parade. You want to see the Longhorns? Come on over.
Hey, that sounds fun.
Pretty
No,
cool.
yeah, I mean, definitely we'll get to things to do here at the end of the show, but Greeley Stampede, 4th of July, lots of activities going on. But this is Live in Fort Collins. We come to you live every Monday at 12 p.m. noon. Sorry if my audio is not dialed this week. It's I just had to unplug it so I could hear Caleb actually talk. But regardless, we're going to talk to you guys about things that have happened, things that are happening. This week there wasn't a city council meeting, but I did watch the planning and zoning review because there was kind of an important, well, not important, but just interesting development coming through, which was a pickleball facility on the southeast side of town. And I'll talk to you guys a little bit more about that as we come up. But let's jump right in. There was an article that came out that said that King Soopers was closing down a significant amount of stores, 60 stores nationwide over the next 18 months. And we just had a massive King Soopers open right in Midtown. Have you been to that King Soopers yet, Caleb?
I have, and I love it. I think there's plenty of support for it, too.
It's huge. I mean, it's and then where King Soopers was, there's a development that's being reviewed for basically a multi-story, multi-use building, some retail down on the ground floor level, and then residential above, and that's in the TOD zone. Do you know what the TOD zone is in Fort Collins, Caleb?
Not top of head, actually, no.
Transit overlay. It's basically the transit overlay plan. Like there's a specific name for it, but essentially there's a district, transit overlay district, that you can build certain things when you're that close to public transit. So like the max transit area.
Nice.
And, so that's kind of where this the old King Soopers was. So it'll be interesting to see, if that goes through. I mean, we're talking, that would be a pretty significant time period. I mean, I don't know. Do you remember the old Kmart that was where King Soopers was?
Yep.
I was shocked that they literally, demolished that and then rebuilt. Like I think, and you're an investor kind of like myself, and I'm like, man, how can I save that building rather than have to demolish it?
That's how I look at things, is how can I salvage this? But I think a lot of times I forget that the highest and best use really is going to be, let's start over with something fresh that fits today's needs per se. So it breaks my heart, and financially it's hard for me to wrap my head around, but I think a lot of projects are better that way, unfortunately.
Yeah, there's some truth to that. And there's even that Joann's Fabric, which is right by First Watch. They're looking at demolishing that and putting in natural grocers there. And I'm like,
crazy.
It's a strong bit, seemingly a decent building. Why do we have to demolish it? But apparently we do. So it doesn't look like any Colorado stores are on the hit list for those store closures from King Soopers. So I'm not really too worried about it. There is some pretty big, I would say, travel changes that you should. I was a little bit confused at first when I saw this kind of headline, but Trilby Road is going to be closing starting July 7th. At College Avenue in Trilby for basically the rest of the year. And I live on the southeast side of town, and it's a pretty significant deal. Now, I don't take it that often, but if I'm going to jump onto like College Avenue for whatever reason, there's definitely a possibility that I go south, jump on Trilby, and then to College Avenue. But for the next 6 months, that is going to be closed. Even more, I think they said spring of 2026 is when that's going to open back up. But it is going to be a massive change in how traffic flows in that area. They're going to have probably 2 lanes for a decent distance in both directions comparatively to the 1 lane that it is now. When we had childcare, there was we had an in-home childcare that we would take Trilby Road, and it would be west of Shields, so we would take it on a daily basis. And there was definitely times where it would be backed up for about maybe not a full mile, but at least a half mile on Trilby. Yeah. So this could be a really big change, but it'll be an annoyance and a nuisance for the next, 6 to 8 months while it gets kind of renovated.
Yeah, it's funny how progress is always a little painful.
Yeah, so there's going to be 2 left turn lanes from College Avenue onto Trilby Road. There's going to be right turn lanes in all directions, and then there'll be a wider Trilby Road approach to College Avenue from both east and west. So
excellent. It's
going to look, and they've been working on this project for, I believe, the entire year already, maybe even some of last year. But a lot of kind of like infrastructure work and kind of prep work for this big project now that they're going to be working on. So $18 million is the expected cost of this interchange kind of revival.
Yeah, hints to the growth of Southern Fort Collins for sure.
Yeah,
Fort Collins in general.
Yep, for sure. Speaking of which, there was 10 Colorado locations with the fastest growing home prices. Or I should say, they're the 10 Colorado locations with the fastest home growing prices. Colorado just rose about 1.1% over the year. I found this was pretty interesting. The projected median income for the nation in 2030 is going to be about $610,000.
That's crazy.
Denver is projected to be at $756,000, which would require $149,000 income to afford that area. This is projections, right? So it's like, man, we've been flat for the last few years. Yeah. Depending on whatever interest rates do and all that kind of stuff, but that's a pretty big jump to $750,000 from, I believe it's like $650 to $675 right now. But the 10 cities that had the fastest home appreciation, Canyon City at 24.8%. Now, is that the place with the max security prison?
I think so. Right outside.
I mean, Sterling. We drove to Haxton this weekend, and Sterling's got that pretty big prison system there. That's a economic driver for them, and I'm like, yep. you don't want to end up there. Durango at 20.3%. Timnath again continues to do well on home appreciation, 20%. Have you ever been to Ken Carroll?
I have not.
I'm going to be going there on Wednesday for the first time in my life. Well, it's near Littleton, I believe. Okay. 16.4%. Castlewood, 13.1%. Monument near Colorado Springs, 10.8%. And then another northern Colorado area, Severance, Colorado, 10%. Superior, 9.4%. Firestone, kind of down near Longmont, 8.7%. And the Pinery, don't even know where the Pinery is, 8.6%.
Very nice.
All right. Let's see here. Mosquitoes testing positive for West Nile virus in Larimer County. Happens every year, but West Nile is a pretty scary, virus. I don't know do you know anybody who's ever gotten West Nile?
Back in my hometown, actually, we had an older lady die when I was in about, middle school, going into high school maybe, and there was big buzz around it because no one was at all concerned previously. Right.
Yeah. I mean, it's I had one family friend who got it, and I mean, it messed him up. For life. And so while I think it's pretty small, City of Fort Collins does spray, and it's generally not too big of a deal, but if you do, don't take it lightly for sure.
Absolutely.
I don't know if I ever told you this. I had a cousin. It was my mom's cousin. So my second cousin, she was bit when she was a baby by a mosquito and had some sort of brain disease that resulted from it, and was impacted the rest of her life, and lives in a home now. And it's just she was a very healthy, strong baby, and so I've always taken mosquitoes pretty seriously as far as not wanting the kids to get bit. But I mean, it's damn near impossible. It's you're outside,
you're gonna do it a little. Try to spray yourself down, do what you can, but that's about it.
Yeah. Alrighty, let's jump into I'm going to share my screen so we can see. Let's see here. We'll go this. So planning and zoning, it's always, there's usually some sort of follow up from the Colorado one, but it's just always they go into so much more information and depth when you watch the actual planning and zoning meetings and understand kind of what's being discussed. But so there was two things I wanted to talk about today, just because like I was watching it and I was like, oh, the Toyota is a pretty big place, as far as, and it just looks pretty cool. So this is College and Harmony. This is where Dutch Brothers Coffee is, and a McDonald's right here. And Kensington is where Peterson currently is. And you can kind of see right down the middle of it. This is actually two parcels. This used to be a self-storage, but they bought it since and want to turn it into one parcel, 5-acre site, and essentially build a new Peterson Toyota there, kind of state of the art. One thing that when I was watching the development proposal for the Drake and LeMay Mazda, do you know what I'm talking about?
Yep.
On the south side of the new King Supers that we were talking about earlier. That Mazda, if they would have kept it as a car dealership, would essentially have had to turn into like a used car dealership, because these franchises or licensing, car companies require a certain aesthetic and appearance for these car dealerships, and Mazda wasn't up to par. So like if they would have kept it as a car dealership, they would have had to completely renovate, rebuild, and it would have made financial sense. So the only option for them was to essentially turn that into like a used car dealership. And I was like, oh man, could you imagine just like a used car dealership on one of the major intersections in Fort Collins? So they've got it in there. I think they've got 4 parcels. They basically subdivided it and are going to lease it off into certain sections. But, this Toyota has been around for a while, so there will be a pretty significant change. It did get voted. It did pass through the planning and zoning. So it looks like this will get taken care of, but let's kind of look at it a little bit more. Here's the 2 parcels that I was talking about that are going to turn into one. Here's an aerial map of it. One thing to note, and this was interesting when they were talking about, kind of this commercial zone or commercial land use update that they're working on currently. There's a lot of sub area plans. So if you don't know what a sub area plan, essentially like the Harmony corridor has a sub area plan. This has a urban mixed use district structure plan. So there's sub area plans for specific areas in Colorado or in Fort Collins. So not only do you have to go by what the land use code is, but you have to also abide by what these sub area plans are, and it can get a little confusing. But this isn't so this is the transit oriented development overlay. That's the TOD that I was talking about earlier. And this is the sub area plan, the Midtown sub area plan. And then it's also, I believe, part of like the Harmony sub area plan. But regardless, here's what it currently looks like. This is actually a pretty busy intersection right here.
Yeah.
Dutch Brothers is right over here. And here's what their conceptual plans look like. I think they look pretty good. All right. Oh, let's go and then I'll go back. So it'll look pretty nice. They'll have new walkways throughout, landscaping. Yeah. The amount of work that it takes to get this conceptual review was submitted last November, or their conceptual review meeting was last November. Then they had a neighborhood meeting in January, and this is the first time it's in front of planning and zoning. I mean, you can see here, there was I think 7 things that came in front of the planning and zoning, and there's 666 pages to review. I mean, I do agree that, it takes time and they should really be making sure that things look good and are structurally sound and go with the aesthetic. But I mean, just the cost of everything has to be crazy.
Absolutely. And there's got to be a better way to get through that than 600 or 700 pages of information.
Yeah. And years of reviews.
Absolutely.
Here's the view from College Avenue looking southwest. And then here's the view from Kensington. This kind of looks the exact same. The biggest difference will be from the front side. Have you seen those 2 new car dealerships from Fort Collins Kia and Fort Collins Nissan on the south side, just north of Trilby?
Yeah.
I mean, they're beautiful, world class. Definitely changing the dynamic of that south side. Okay, I wanted to then get into the pickleball, which starts at slide. Let's see here, 494. Have you ever played pickleball?
Just once, finally. I played with some friends over at oh gosh, where do we play? I don't know, West Greeley. There's a park that has permanent nets, and we played over there, and that was fun.
Okay, I've only played once myself, but apparently it's a pretty big deal.
Oh yeah.
And I actually just wrote a blog post about this. So, there's the place called the Pickler. It's a franchise, I believe, or maybe it's not a franchise, but regardless, they have got one in Loveland. It's pretty popular indoor pickleball facility. And the city of Fort Collins, I don't actually, I think I can show this. Why don't I show this right now? Here's where all of our pickleball facilities are currently in Fort Collins. Can you see that, Caleb?
Yep.
So Twin Silo and City Park have 2 are dedicated pickleball. But as you can see, most everything else is just multi-use, makeshift tennis courts, basketball courts. So there's not a lot of dedicated pickleball facilities in Fort Collins. But that's going to dramatically change over the next 6 to 12 months because the 27,000 Pickler has broken ground at Jessup Farms.
Yep.
So over there, basically Prospect and Timberline, there'll be a 27,000 square foot facility. I can't remember how many courts there are, but then
10
is a reuse application for an already standing building. This was actually Hewlett Packard's original building before they built their office campus off of Harmony and Ziegler. So this actually used to house Hewlett Packard, but it's basically been vacant for a long time. And the parking lot that's sitting right here, is overgrown with weeds. The cement's deteriorating.
Yep.
But they're looking at putting in 6 outdoor seasonal courts, 4 up top here, 2 down here, and then 11 indoor courts with grab and go coffee, food. But the access is really kind of funky. You have to get through a parking lot to get to this facility. So not the easiest to access, but it's on 4.38 acres. They're going to have an acre of which dedicated to landscaping. And then I want to show you this right here, because I think this is really pretty cool. This is going to be the power trail that's going to be built this coming fall and into next spring, the underpass, where they're going to be going under Harmony. And so it's going to tie right into this power trail. So the access to this will really be pretty cool from anyone who wants to take the power trail to access this. I mean, I will probably, I don't know if I'll get I don't think I'll get a membership, but being able to ride your bike here and just park here and pretty sweet.
Yeah. I'm excited to play since we've got some new options coming. Accessibility means a lot.
Yep. So you'll have the 6 courts here, parking out over on this side. But here's a little bit of renderings for you. So here's the 6 outdoor courts. They're not going to have to do much. The one thing they did say is they're not going to have to do much to the existing building. It's actually in good shape and condition. So a lot of it's going to be on the interior renovation and then exterior adding the courts. They're going to have like 18-foot tall fences or 12-foot tall fences, 12 to 18-foot tall fences. And there was only one person who sent in public comment for this, and they were concerned about the noise. And one of the commissioners said, well, this is literally like right next door to the Union Pacific Railroad. So we can't really worry too much about noise because, it just shouldn't. But they are going to do some noise modifications. But I don't know, I just am excited, between these two things. I will stop sharing my screen. Between these two things, it just appears like people are still making significant investments in Fort Collins in Northern Colorado, which is always, being in real estate, is just kind of good to see. And then bringing in amenities. Like, I think amenities are just great. Like, I think we there's a lot of things that people can stay within Fort Collins. And because there was a, I don't know when I think I did it last month, but there used to be 50% of the population in Larimer County was in Fort Collins, but 70% of our sales tax revenue in Larimer County came to Fort Collins. So it just meant that a lot of people were driving into Fort Collins to spend their dollars. But with the growth of Northern Colorado, Centera, Shields, Windsor, now still 50% of the population is in Fort Collins, but only about 50% of Larimer County sales tax dollars is coming from Fort Collins. So fewer people are traveling into Fort Collins to shop. And, I don't think it's a bad thing. I just think it's something that we have to watch and understand that, like, amenities are important to, keep a thriving business and economy here in Fort Collins.
Absolutely. And you get some places like Timnath and some other communities that continue to grow so rapidly. It probably steals a small percentage of that. But I think on the overall, I think our percentage of revenue coming in is probably increased just as Colorado has grown so exponentially. That'd be my opinion.
Absolutely. No, I just think that the area in Northern Colorado, the population is still, the demographics are still, are strong. The housing prices that we just talked about with Denver median price, Fort Collins, everything, the just overall, feel is overall positive.
Yeah. My thoughts are people don't build and provide amenities in an area that they think is struggling. You tend to see those people shy away. And so it's nice to see people wanting to be involved with these communities still.
All right, getting into things to do this weekend. We've got what do we got going on? So we got the Greeley Stampede. Are you going to go to any of the concerts?
Not any of the concerts this year. It's just too hard with the toddler. We're going tomorrow, just taking our toddler, go play the games, walk around, kind of do all the fun stuff that you can with a kid. So that's kind of the agenda. Is get out and enjoy it, get a turkey leg, but nothing really planned.
Yeah. I've never been a big turkey leg fan, but I can see the appeal.
Oh, you're missing out.
Are you going to go to the rodeo? It starts at 7:00.
I think we're undecided depending on a babysitter. So tell my brother to get up here.
Yeah, I know. So we got the rodeo today, tomorrow, and Wednesday. We've got Scotty McCreery and Craig Morgan on July 3rd. There's another act, I believe, I possibly on the 4th, I'm not sure, but another decent act. But the Greeley Stampede, it's like a 2-week event. Does it go through Sunday? Or does it
I think it runs through the 6th this year. Yep.
Runs through the 6th. Okay. So if you're in Northern Colorado, definitely worth going and checking out and exploring. My wife, she likes to do the Firecracker 5K. So we're going to be doing that on the 4th. It basically starts at like 7 a.m. But from there's a full day of activities down in Fort Collins. Just going through them. I did this last year and I thought that was just really pretty good. The activities start with Firecracker 5K. The food truck rally is actually all day long. So you can actually go and get food truck food, 7:30 to 9:30 that day.
Nice.
A parade starts at 10 a.m. That thing does last a pretty long time, like a couple hours. So Janae was the marshal last year. So we had to go this year. We probably will go, but City Park Pool is open 12 to 4. Family Fun Zone 11 to 3, trolley rides noon to 5, live music 4 to 8:30, and then the fireworks celebration starts at 9:35. Which last year was a pretty sweet fireworks celebration. We actually got good parking, got out of there in a decent hour, good seats. But I would say you're going to want to get there early. It starts to get packed pretty quick.
Did you pre-park a car? Did you go down in advance and leave a car to save a spot?
Ooh, I'm sure you could, but you might be like worked as like an enemy of the state with those people. I don't know. There's probably a pretty decent strategy. They do push a lot of people to try to take mass transit. The bus system that's there, because they do have buses that go very late that night, are packed. I think it's Sheldon Lake Drive or whatever it is. They just have lines of buses, so they try to limit the parking downtown. So if you can, ride your bike, take a bus, don't come and park down there. But it's obviously, like, for me, I always justify it's like hard with kids. I'm like,
absolutely.
No, I'm going to take it, whatever is the easiest for us. And then actually, we're going to be going to Red Feather this weekend to spend a day down there. And Red Feather offsets their firework days. So they don't want to compete with Fort Collins. So they actually have it on July 5th. So if you're fiending for some fireworks, you could hit up July 4th in Fort Collins and July 5th in Red Feather. And it's a full day, again, parade, games, food. So we're actually going to spend some decent time up there in Red Feather this weekend. Our first time up there spending time.
That's awesome. I didn't know they staggered their days. That's great. Love Red Feather.
Yeah, so get up there. There's a 3.6 mile fun run. I don't think 3.6 miles is fun to run, so I will not be doing that. I will be walking the Firecracker 5K, maybe a little trot here and there.
Your kids doing it?
Yeah, the kids are gonna be doing it with us.
Awesome. How cool.
And then if you're not heading up to Red Feather, there is a Battle of the Bands at Centerra, July 5th, 7 to 9 p.m. So there's just a ton of things to do. Plenty of activities going on. Caleb, talk to me. How's your week looking? how's your real estate business? Are you wheeling and dealing like you have been, or is it slowing down for you?
Stuff personally is really busy, thankfully. We've got clients coming in this town, coming in today from out of state, and so I'm going to show some houses tomorrow through Thursday. I've got another client who actually their house is on market. They got moved out here into a short-term rental. And so we're checking out houses this week and going forward pretty heavily until we find the right place for them. Outside of that, activity is still good.
Is that Jason? Did he do a short-term rental out here?
Not yet. Nope, they're coming down. We've got Pat and Carlos. So if you guys are watching this, pretty cool.
Okay.
Nope, we'll get Jason settled out. Other than that, things are good. It's definitely a buyer's market. I had an agent reach out this morning for a property in Timnath, actually, who basically said, hey, our seller is upset this has been on market 3 or 4 months and it's not sold. They're going to terminate their listing contract today, and they're not sure what the plan is going forward. But if you're interested, let us know, because right now these sellers are terrified. So I think you're seeing that a little bit more and more. Not for a turnkey house, but if your house has been on market, some sellers are really getting antsy.
Do you have any areas in Fort Collins that you're excited about specifically?
Ooh, gosh. I still have shown a couple of new builds up at Bloom, and they're just about done with their first stage, I know, but I think that area is going to continue to grow. Outside of that, couple things near City Park where people really like the access to those amenities, and then some quick escapes out to the west side of town. So really location dependent for the couple specifically. Yeah,
no, I think that northeast section is just right for the picking as far as redevelopment, new development. So I agree with you out there. And that I-25 and Mulberry overpass, I believe, is in the Colorado Department of Transportation's budget for the next few years. So we'll see a big renovation in that area. And I think that's just going to be kind of one of the first dominoes to fall for that entire area.
I think so.
You can kind of see that at Prospect and I-25 after that overpass was complete. Timnath Middle High School, you've got Rudolph Farms that's getting developed there. So, it's kind of like, if you build it, they will come type of deal. If you build that
Absolutely.
Nice infrastructure, then people feel more comfortable making those plays, out there. So,
yeah, totally agree.
Well, it was a shorter, because like I said, there wasn't much going on with city council this weekend. It is a slow, I will say the one thing to take note of with the real estate market is this time of the summer is definitely a dead time. Last week, this week, and even into next week, people are getting out there, they're barbecuing. It's a great opportunity as a buyer because there's not a lot of buyers that are active right now, but it's just a slow time. So, don't get yourself too in the weeds. Go out, have fun, enjoy time with your family. Be safe. I do know that there's DUI checks all over the place, so be safe. Don't drink and drive. And definitely don't do anything with fireworks if you've been drinking, because we have talked about it. One thing to know, Caleb, is there's been a change. I think it's active this year. There's been a change where if it used to be, if you shot a firework, a Fort Collins police officer would have to have watched you shoot that firework off to arrest you.
Mm-hmm.
Now they can cite the homeowner of where fireworks were being shot off with just evidence, visual evidence of fireworks being shot off. So they are illegal in Fort Collins. Pretty much if they go in the air and explode, probably illegal. So take whatever risks you feel are acceptable in your own life.
If you want to play the pyro game, you got to drive up to Cheyenne for the weekend. Come on back down after, but that's probably your best option.
Totally. Well, Caleb, I appreciate you joining me on this week's live. Good luck with your clients, and join me tomorrow at 2 p.m. Mountain Standard Time. I will be doing our monthly update for the real estate market in Northern Colorado. I've got some good data to share and excited to talk to you guys about that. So enjoy the rest of your Monday. Caleb, you have a good day.
Awesome. Thanks for that. See you guys.
All right. See ya.